May it please the court, Your Honor. Before is Mr. Nicholas J. Cooper. He is here on warrant numbers 2023 A 45 101 00604 605 606 607 and 608. Your Honor, on 3 counts of attempted murder, domestic violence of a high and aggravated nature, and placing a loaded trap or spring gun device. Your Honor, he is represented this morning by Ms. Alyssa Wilson, and this is defense's motion for a bond reconsideration in the matter. Bond was originally denied at the magistrate level, and he has been detained at the Winsburg County Detention Center for a total of 48 days.
So, tell me, was he out of bond or anything else?
No, sir, Your Honor. He actually has no criminal history.
Okay. So tell me about the facts.
In Your Honor, back on December 3rd of last year, Winsburg County Sheriff Office deputies responded to the Citgo gas station, which was located at the intersection of U.S. Highway 521 and the County Line Road in the Andrews area of Georgetown County, in reference to an incident that occurred on Crestwood Drive, which is in the Andrews area of Winsburg County. When deputies met with, she stated that had called her and advised her that her husband, Nicholas Cooper, had set a trap to the entrance of the residence with a firearm. Deputies then responded to their home address and made contact with was there. When they arrived, they made contact with her, along with a miss stated that she had been away from the residence all day at a sports tournament with one of her children. She stated that Kristen had driven her home to gather some belongings because she was not able to see well at night. She stated that when she arrived to the home, she observed a carpet propped up against the door and that alerted her that a trap had been set. She stated that there had been a double-barrel shotgun that was propped up, pointed towards the door with a string attached to the door, and on the note it had the words written on it, "Say when." To show officers 2 pictures of the trap that had been set, officers saw the double-barrel shotgun facing the door with a red string wrapped around it. Officers then spoke to a Mr. brother. He stated that he was with Nicholas prior to this incident. He said that Nicholas was not in his right state of mind on the prior evening and that Nicholas had even tried to fight him. He stated that he was driving Nicholas around to keep him away from the home, would be able to safely enter the home to retrieve some clothing and other items without Nicholas interfering. They did advise officers that Nicholas had various firearms inside the residence as well.
You want to say that one more time?
He had various firearms inside the residence as well.
So, were they living together? How did, were they going through separation or how did?
Yes, sir. So they had ongoing, looks like domestic violence incidences that started around Friday evening on December 1st of 2023. Ms. Officers that she had confronted Nicholas about him not working. She said she was getting on him about getting a job so he can help pay for bills and help the children prepare for Christmas. That's when the argument continued on to that Saturday. Told officers that Nicholas was very intoxicated and acting weird, and from where he was acting aggressive. She said following that, he seemed to act reckless. He started shooting his guns essentially on the outside of the house. He knocked down a Christmas tree. He kicked the dog for no reason, and he was very disrespectful to her mother. And he even held a gun to someone in their leg, and he was skating from a moving vehicle on Inwood Road prior to this incident as well. He stated that on that Sunday after church, her along with the 3 children went to the ball game. She asked a friend to come over to take her back because part of it is she feels scared for him. She really feels as though he needs some mental help. She said if something is going on wrong with him, she still has feelings for him. She cares very deeply for him, but she is also in fear of what he may do to her, her children, her mother-in-law. Just she's in fear of her safety altogether. So the spring gun, that being set up, could have potentially injured her, taking her life and her children's life who were with her that time when she went to retrieve the clothing.
So there was law enforcement recovery now? And was the gun loaded?
And at the time, I do not have the information. We just received this case file this morning.
May it please the court. Alyssa Wilson here for Jack Swerling's office, representing Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper is 32 years old. He went through the 11th grade. He owns a construction company called Tree, and he's owned it for 5 years. Him and Whitney have been married since April 30th of 2021, but they've been together on and off for 13 years, and they do have 3 children together. His family is all local. He grew up here in the Kingstree area, and his mother and father are here in the courtroom today. Judge, the gun, so some of these facts that were just stated are the first time we're hearing this. We don't have any discovery yet, so any statements by the victim we don't have in our possession. But the gun that night in question was his grandfather's gun. It hadn't been fired in many years. Nicholas was actually restoring it at the time, so it didn't have any fire pins. It wasn't loaded. It wasn't able to even shoot. He had propped it up to send a picture to his daughter. He was going to put an elf on the shelf on it because it was around Christmas time, but he was unable to find the elf. And the Say When is a Doc Holliday reference that I guess they had, watched that movie together. So it really was meant to be in jest to the daughter. It was not meant to injure his family in any way, shape, or form. It couldn't have injured his family. It wasn't able to even fire. So he actually had been taking a new medicine that made him sleepy. That night when the police were called, police did come to the house. They never entered the house. Nicholas actually slept through the whole incident. So as far as the threat of that night, police were there. They never entered the house. They didn't take the gun that night. My understanding is they didn't search the house until he was arrested about a week later, which at that time I believe they did remove some weapons from the home that were in a safe. That night in question, Nicholas's brother actually his family owns a bunch of land, so they all live right nearby each other. Came over to the house and woke Nicholas up, and at the time, were actually in the home taking a bunch of things. So again, I'm not sure how threatened they felt when they were in the home with Nicholas there that same night. There is a restraining order out and through the family court and got a restraining order against Nicholas. He has been in jail since December 8th. To my knowledge, he hasn't spoken to her or the kids since then. He does have no prior record. He also, to my knowledge, the children have left the marital residence. They're living elsewhere. I'm not sure where, but his brother has been watching the dogs while Nick's been in jail.
Where is the victim?
Your Honor, the victim is present.
With these charges, I would never let him out of jail. She's standing up on me to send him home.
And Your Honor, just a little additional fact. Officer spoke to who said when he saw the sign that said "Say When," he thought of it as a reference to when he had a prior incident with each other of domestic violence, and while he was choking her, Mr. Cooper would say when. I perceive it as an elf on the shelf or some kind of Christmas decoration.
Does law enforcement have any photographs? Is it?
I believe they do in the full case file. We just haven't received it yet. They said it was clear that you could look through the door and see the red string that was tied to the shotgun.
And what was the red string triggered to? Usually when you open the door, the normal one, you open the door, the string pull the trigger.
My understanding of this door, Your Honor, is that it opened inward, so even if the string was tied to the door, it wouldn't have pulled anything, and that the string wasn't even tied to the trigger, that it was just tied around the gun, because it was not meant to injure anyone. And as far as reports of previous domestic violence, I have been provided no information of that. I don't believe there's any prior police reports of domestic violence.
Okay, if I grant him bond, do you want him home, or there's a restraining order in place, or do you want no contact?
According to as far as the restraining order, he's not allowed to have contact with her at this point if he is released. He would be in violation of a family court restraining order.
Okay.
which they'll have to work out separately from this court.
Has he ever had any trouble?
He's never had any criminal history
I've seen
whatsoever.
y'all on a team,
We are.
and I have had problems in the past, so you can get your clients. At least your boss get your clients. All right, based on the, I'll set a $15,000 PR bond.
Thank you, Judge.
She'll end up having to pay it. But you can't have any weapons, and you can't drink till this thing gets sorted out. You got to stay away from alcohol, and you can't have any weapons. You understand that? And if any weapons are in that home, and you go home, somebody's got to go get them out.
I believe
They're
that.
in the safe,
They got it.
I believe the
They got
police
it.
took them all.
And if y'all lose contact with him, in 10 days, y'all gotta notify me, because I let him out on PR bond, because he's gonna stay at the lawyer. You lose cell phone contact, you can't find him, you gotta contact the solicitor's office, and I'm gonna revisit the bond.
We will, Judge. We're in contact with his parents as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
This is Christian News TY. I'm Tony Conyers. If there are any newsworthy events in Williamsburg County, we will get them to you as soon as possible. If not, you can follow us on Christian News TY Facebook, you can follow us on YouTube, and you can follow us on our website.